Welcome back to another episode of the North Star Takes podcast. I'm Bailey Paulicki. He's Jacob Liberta, and we're a Minnesota sports podcast. So if you're a sports fan, or especially a Minnesota sports fan, rather, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you're a Vikings fan, hit the like button on this video because the Minnesota Vikings have a new energy about them. It's almost a sort of breath of fresh air from what it's been the last several years. And this team just, from what we've seen so far, granted, we're only seeing videos. We're not seeing anything, they haven't played any games yet or, nothing's solidified. But just from the looks of it and, from what videos have been put out from OTAs and such, this team really seems to be getting, I don't necessarily say getting along better, but there's more cohesion, there's more chemistry. And it seems like these guys are doing more together off the field too. Adam Thielen had his foundation softball game where, basically the entire team showed up and showed out for that softball game, which was cool to see all the pictures and videos come from that. Just as recently as today, they were at Topgolf doing stuff too, a bunch of the players. So it seems like this group now is getting closer. They're doing more together off the field. I know they mentioned the TVs were never on in the locker room and stuff throughout the season. Little things like that are probably changing now with the new regime in there. And I think that's a big part of it too is, the new GM, new head coach are kind of encouraging this type of behavior, encouraging the players to get close to one another, spend some good time together. And, what do you think that says, Liberta, about, what the approach for this front office and this coaching staff, as well as do you think that it can really translate to success on the field?
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot more gel here where guys seem to be visibly spending a lot more time together. I mean, maybe they were, it just wasn't as public or as documented, I guess, on all the social media platforms that we got that are ever evolving. But I think, like you mentioned, there's just the little things here and there that when you compare it to last year, it just feels a lot different. Like you said, I mean, the locker room is even this little things. It's like having the TVs on or something. Like there's that tension in the room where now it feels like everybody can kind of let loose and relax a little bit. That it's not like we're walking on eggshells here. I think the new GM Kwesi and our new head coach KOC, I think they're really encouraging guys to really be themselves, and I feel like they're kind of feeding off each other now, just because it's like there's a new environment there where they feel like you can really explore how you fit into it, I guess. And I think having these events like the Thielen Foundation's had, where they play that charity softball game out at the Saint Stadium, and then having the Topgolf outing too. I mean, I think these guys are all together, and I think it's just, when you spend more time together, I think this is great for the on-the-field product, because I think when you spend more time together, then I think you feel like you begin to grow closer, obviously, and start to trust each other. Yeah. And I think it's really big to have throughout the course of the season, because there's going to be many ups and downs. So obviously, when you're having those ups and having the good times, it's nice to really just pump each other's tires and really get excited about where you're going, because you can just feed off that confidence, and confidence can win you a lot of games. But on the other end of the spectrum, it's just when you're losing games, obviously when you hit that point in the season where you're just kind of in a slump and need to snap out of it, those are the times you need to overcome adversity. That's kind of when you got to lean on each other. And if you have nobody to lean on and nobody's really communicating to each other as far as what's wrong, then you're just going to keep going down this bad path, and it's kind of hard to bounce back from, and that can really tailspin a season into a point of no return. So I think this is very important for the future of this Vikings team, not only in 2022 but beyond, really setting and putting in place, I guess, a culture that feels like everybody can be themselves and feel like they're on a positive course, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a never-ending cycle of Vikings fandom. The season ends, you're sour, you're bitter, you want all these changes. This year we actually got the changes that we wanted, which was super nice. But then it's like, they extend Kirk Cousins. They keep a lot of the team intact that we thought maybe there'd be some massive changes roster-wise with a new regime. And, that was frustrating, keeping Kirk around and not really, embracing the opportunity to have a rebuild and stuff like that. So that was frustrating, but now it's getting to the point of, again, where, we're into June now. Next month, it'll be training camp. It's like the season's coming back around. You're starting to feel a little more optimism again. And you kind of start to wonder, well, is Kevin O'Connell really going to rub off on Kirk Cousins? Is he going to empower him and enable him to be the leader that he can be or that he should be? And I don't know if Kirk's got it in him or not, but that's something to keep an eye on. And if the guys play more loose, especially the defensive unit that had just been so off of the last 2 seasons, if they can find a way to stay healthy and under a new system, maybe play a little more loose, more rejuvenated. Maybe the defense improves, quite a bit from what it's been the last couple seasons. The offense has had all the skill in the world, but maybe under a new head coach that's got a new offensive scheme, new ideas, is more aggressive in certain situations. I mean, that could just maximize it even more. So I think, the change has been good for sure. I think it's going to do nothing but help because I don't really know if you can get much worse with the talent that this roster had. I mean, I know that 7-8 wins is not great for this team. And obviously it could get, they could have won 4 or 5 games, but I don't think that's even possible with the talent that's on this roster. So, maybe this coaching staff can elevate it to 10 or 11 wins. I still don't think they're a Super Bowl contender by any means, but, they could prove me wrong with that too. But I just think the change has been good, even if it's not quite the rebuild that we've all sort of envisioned when, Zimmer and Spielman got broomed out of here. But I'm excited to see what the change looks like on the field too. I think, if the offense is a new look offense, a little bit more aggressive, if they use Dalvin Cook in different ways, if we finally get to see Irv Smith's potential unlocked, obviously the wide receiver core, we know what that looks like after last season and how productive those 3 were. So I'm excited to see what it all looks like, man. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. Me too. And I think going back to one of those points that you made of all those good ones, it was how does KOC truly impact Kirk both on the field and like X's and O's, drawing up plays for him that he's going to be able to succeed with, but more in the mental wiring as far as his processing goes on game days and things like that, and how he approaches being the quarterback of the team and or really hopefully being one of the leaders of the team as far as getting the playoffs, making some noise ideally. And I mean, he comes with the 3rd highest cap hit in the league, so I feel like there's that added pressure on him too that should be there. So it's just how much more can we get out of Kirk that we haven't seen already? I think that's really the big talking point in town. I think it will be until we see this first season play out and see if Kirk really has that extra level that he can get to with a coach that's a little bit more, I don't know, I guess catered to him specifically. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out. And I know it was to hear his comments in some of these pressers lately. I know he appeared in at least one. I think it's been multiple now. And after these OTAs and commenting on Judd from Score North, his question about what we like most about the KOC offense, and it's like, not a whole lot's changed. It's more just learning the language and things like that. So it's like, what kind of answers that? But
Yeah.
it's like I think you'll really be able to tell once we all like the public can get some eyes on what they're doing at practice and training camp or getting some preseason games even, or especially once we get to week 1 and playing Green Bay, see how Kirk feels and how comfortable he really is with this new offense. Because I mean, let's face it, Sean McVay is kind of reinventing the wheel, so to speak. Like obviously some concepts in football will never change; they'll be the same. But he's adding all these extra things where it's like I'm kind of upset. I'm forgetting the phrase they used in the opening press conference when we hired KOC. It's like the illusion of complexity.
Illusion of complexity. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like you're adding another level to what we're doing here as far as like, I don't know, modernizing it, I guess. So I'm curious to see how Kirk really does in that. Like if he's going to put up the same old stats, we still end up with a 500 record, if this really will unlock something that we haven't seen before that all the Kirk haters don't expect. So I'm pretty excited for this. Pretty excited for this first season of this new, I don't know, this new regime, this new group. I know we're not really changing too many pieces. That was the big deal here that we came to realize throughout this off seasons that we're kind of running back. But I think the coaching, it feels like we can only get better there. So It feels like a floor for this team should be 8 wins, but remains to be seen. I guess I believe want to see it.
Yeah, and I still think they had a pretty solid draft. They didn't really knock it out of the park by any means. They didn't have any home run type draft picks where we're like, oh, this is a slam dunk type talent, which they could have had at number 12, but decided to forego. But they drafted quite a bit of depth, probably a starting safety, which is nice to have. And obviously you have a succession plan for when Harrison Smith moves on too. So that is nice to have. So the defense got bolstered up a little bit, even if the top end talent didn't dramatically improve. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the thing is, can this new regime kind of improve us on the margins? Because we lost so many close games last year, so many, poor coaching decisions or, the offense kind of melting down at the end of some of these games, or the defense, especially in the final 2 minutes of both halves. Just improving on the margins in these small little portions of the game, I think is going to be massive. So if this new coaching staff, if this new regime can kind of just figure out a way to help improve us in those scenarios, because the talent kept us in those games all of last year. I mean, I don't remember a game that we got blown out last year. There was maybe one or something. There's usually one a year, but the talent keeps us close. So then it comes down to coaching and decision making to kind of rein it in and win some of these close games. So, any other final thoughts from you before we take off here about this new look Vikings team?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Twins struggling and no other teams really playing right now, but I'm super excited for training camp. I can't wait. I think this is going to be it's a new era, truthfully. So I'm pretty excited to see what that looks like on the field and training camp to start with.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think don't even get me started on the Twins. We can save that for another video another time. But I know they're leading the division, but it's still frustrating. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for training camp too. And the football season couldn't start enough. You get to June, July, and you're just kind of ready for football to start again. You don't want to wish summer away, but it'll definitely be fun to have the Vikings back and playing. And they should be a better team. So we'll see how that turns out. But that will do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Like I mentioned earlier, please click the like button on this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Feel free to give us a follow on both Twitter and Instagram and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of this new look Vikings team that seems to be loose, enjoying each other's company, doing more together outside the football field? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it can lead to success on the football field? Any other thoughts you might have on this Vikings team as we slowly head towards training camp here as summer just kicks off? So until next time, thanks for watching.